So today's topic is going to be about friends and isolation. And so when I got together with my wife, I had my own set of friends. Like I didn't have a lot of friends. I don't think I've ever really had a shit ton of friends. I've always had like people that I could call and talk to and hang out with. And over time, my wife came in between those friendships. It was either she told them something and they just stopped talking to me, or she would tell me that they weren't really my friend and like manipulate me into seeing things from a perspective that wasn't real. And gradually, before I realized, I didn't really have friends that, you know, I didn't really have friends. I still have people that we talk to each other, like they're still my friends, but we don't hang out anymore. But and then I want to say, like, when my oldest kids were 3, I was just like, yeah, I can't keep doing this. Go to work, come home, go to work, come home. Like, what is this? And then like I go to work and come home, and like she'd go out with friends. And then I'd say, hey, like, is it cool if I go out with some of my friends one night this week? And it'd be a whole argument, like, all you do is go out. And it's like, I go to work. And I don't even get to keep any of that money. We're struggling, right? But if we're struggling, how do you have money to go out with your friends? But I can't go spend a couple hours with my friends. And that was the entirety of the relationship. And then one day, like, when my oldest sons were like 3 or 4, I was like, nah, fuck this. And I started putting myself out there to be in bands. And that was a fight, argument, like whatever you want to call it. It was war, pretty much. Just the fact that I said, no, I'm going to do something for myself. And I would get into a band, things would be good, and all of a sudden, like, these dudes would kick me out, or she would throw tantrums, and I'd miss enough band practices where they'd be like, nah. There was one band where I explained to them like what life was like at home, and they worked with me. And then that band, I don't even remember what happened. It was like some weird shit. All of a sudden, just like no one wanted to talk to me. And I was just like, what the fuck? But like that was the entirety of that relationship, and I never put two and two together that she had a hand in all of that, and like that is what abusers do. Abusers will do things in roundabout ways where we'll never get back to they had a hand in doing that. And if it does, like, because there were times people would tell me, like, hey, your wife told me you're not working. Like, you stay home, don't do shit. And I would laugh and say, well, like, that's ridiculous. I literally just came from my job to here. I literally just told you I'm leaving work. I'm on my way to your house. And, like, the way this dude did, like, a couple people, the way that they explained it to me was as if my wife was telling them I was lying about working and I was just going and fucking other women. And then, like, and I said in an earlier video, like, accusations are confessions, and like that is a very specific accusation to make, especially when I'm turning around and handing you my entire paycheck. So like, if I'm making all that money, at what time could I go and fuck someone else? You know what I mean? And then at that point I realized, like, I don't know what you make. I don't know where you work, who you work for, like how much you make an hour, what you bring home. And like, that was again another fucking argument. I didn't need to know that. And it's just like, no, if you need to know this much about my life, like, why am I not privy to this much of your life? Are we not married? Are these not my children? Is this not my family? Come to find out, no, none of it is true. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not denying those are my kids, but the way that this divorce has been handled and the way that things have been said and done, paternity is a very strong fucking question right now. Honestly, I don't give a fuck what a paper says. I was there at their birth. I signed a birth certificate and I raised them. all I care about is the truth. You know what I mean? Like, those kids still call me dad, and they will forever call me dad until the day I die. But, you know, it takes a disturbed individual to take what a loving person does and twist it and go to people as if you are this ultimate victim, when in reality you are creating victims. And like, I never viewed myself as a victim or as a survivor for the longest time until multiple different women told me, nah, you're a fucking victim. The woman financially abused me our entire. She's continuing to financially abuse me, continuing to psychologically abuse me, continuing to just abuse me any way she can. She's put her hands on me. And when I tried to file a police report, they tried to arrest me. So at this point, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people tell me, oh, it looks like you've given up, and I haven't. I'm just, there isn't a way to fight it directly, you know? You really can't fight something like this directly, because any way you fight it directly, you look like the asshole. And that is the way that it was set up, you know? I can't go legally because the cops, I can't go charge her with identity theft because it has to be the township that she lives in. And the township that she lives in, they tell me that it's uncircumstantial evidence. So, you know, and I've got the proof. I've shown the proof multiple times, and the proof gets deeper and more larger, crazier. And we're just like, oh, uncircumstantial, we need more proof than this. And they tell this to me with a fucking smile. And like, at the end of the day, like, this is why I don't like police, because like, you're sitting here helping a woman commit felonies, and you see the proof that she's committing felonies, and you're telling the victim, oh, you need more proof, buddy. Like, oh, these might not be your kids, so why are you still coming up here? You know, like, oh, she says you were never married, you were only dating, you're just obsessed with her and her kids. I'm just like, does that make sense to you, bro? In this day and age, the way that woman lives, you really think that's true? Man, to me, it's not worth arguing, especially idiots, bigots, men who have little fucking dicks. I refuse to argue with a man whose penis is smaller than mine. There's nothing there, buddy. Like, you have nothing of value to add to this conversation. If you can believe, it's not even just ridiculous lies, it's the way that the lies are. It's always a little bit of something here, and then something egregious there, and then like a little bit of something here. But then when you watch the way that this woman moves, she doesn't move like a woman who's been beaten the fuck up every day of a 10-year marriage. You know what I mean? And then, like, you know, but yeah, so over time, she chased away and got rid of people who were my friends, and replaced them with people who were loyal to her. And that's why all of the people the past 3 years who keep bringing my name up, that's why they keep bringing my name up. And they were pretending to be my friend for that long. Because honestly, if you were friends with me and you saw me doing these things, why did you wait until now? You know what I mean? Why did you use me to make a name for yourself? You know, why did you take my music and try to pass it off as your own, and like, oh, we're gonna change it and alter it so he can't say it's his? But like, bro, that's still colonizing. You're still colonizing a music that was written by a black man to speak about issues of BIPOC issues. BIPOC and women and anyone who's not a white male. That is literally what that music was speaking to. You know, like, I'm not excluding white males, but the message in that music that these white men have stolen is it literally expresses exactly what they're doing. Like, one of the songs I wrote and we always performed and they also stole was Yellow for the Gold Stolen. Self-explanatory. I do not need to explain that. And if you don't understand it, I suggest you look that up. There was the whole, I guess I called them sagas. It was, red for the blood spilt, black for the man, woman, and child, green for the land it was all looted from, and yellow for the gold stolen. And each song spoke about an issue that BIPOC and women have had to deal with since this country's inception, and even before then. You know, like, we keep blaming racism on America and Britain when, like, those two countries formed from Rome, you know, and, like, Rome was also a depraved fucking entity. Getting off topic, but, you know, like, she chased away my friends and replaced them with people who were loyal to her. And over time, like, the past 3 years, they have all aided in her cycles of abuse. And these types of people, they get off of it. They get off on it. And I don't know if it's because I'm autistic or if it's because, like, I'm just so traumatized that, like, it stopped affecting me, but it stopped affecting me after a while. Like, something in me snapped, and I don't know. It just doesn't, I can see it coming, and when it happens, yes, I do get angry still, because you'll always get angry, but I don't react the way that I used to, and I don't react the way that they want me to. And that is something that I have had to, like, force myself to learn through this journey. You know, like, this chapter of my life does not define the entirety of my life, and I can't let it define me. Yeah, for a period, I got pretty dark there. You know, like, I got pretty fucking low, and I'm pretty happy for the people who have remained in my life and who have given me chance after chance and have seen, like, this, you know, like, you're going through this crazy shit that no one should have to go through. And honestly, without the people who have remained in my life and who've helped me, I wouldn't have survived. I wouldn't have survived the first 3 months. You know, I would have done something crazy. I would have played into my abuser's hands, you know? And I appreciate everyone who has helped me stay on the path, who has helped me stay focused, and helped me understand that what I'm going through is abuse, and it wasn't my fault. It's never my fault, you know? Like, what she chooses to do, that's her choice. You know, like, it sucks that I'm the one that she's taking it out on, but at the end of the day, you know, like, eventually enough is going to be enough, and I refuse to be that button. You know, like, I can see when it's coming, and I know it's coming, and when it happens, I just have to do what I have learned how to do my entire life: pivot and move on, you know? And I've said it before, like, I think for the longest time it hurt because I didn't see myself with anyone else but her. And like I said, it wasn't a good marriage, but it wasn't what I grew up with. So it was just, I saw myself as married, I saw myself with the kids, and I was like, I can't leave her to suit myself, and my kids need me. They need both parents. And again, that was a mistake on my end. Like, to anyone who's going through abuse, please do not take offense to this, but sometimes you need to be selfish. If you can't take those kids with you, then you need to make sure that they are somewhere safe before you fucking leave. But if you're in my situation where you're isolated and you can't take them anywhere safe, and you can't take them, then you make sure that you're safe, and you make sure that you can take care of them. And then you go to the fucking courts. You play their game against them. And I've always been staunch against involving the courts and the government in your affairs, but, like, abusers move in ways that aren't fucking normal. You know, like, they don't move in ways that you would think of because you're not an abuser. And that's how they get away with a lot of their shit, you know? I'm gonna keep cleaning space on my phone so I can keep making these videos, because these honestly are very therapeutic. And I highly suggest anyone who's going through a situation like mine, like, do something like this. People will tell you tell you not to. And honestly, I wouldn't do it until you're absolutely mentally ready, because if you do it like right as it's going on, you're not going to be able to handle it. It's going to be a lot, you know. But something like this, even if you don't post it, something like this is very therapeutic, because you're talking and you're getting it out instead of letting it fester. And honestly, letting it fester is what gets you in trouble. But I'll be back soon.